You know, artificial intelligence, AI. It's kind of everywhere, right? It's on your phone, in your car, probably in your living room. We're using it all the time, but what is it really? And maybe more importantly, what isn't it? It can get super confusing. So let's demystify it, break it all down.
Okay, so let's just jump right in with a question. Think about the AI you probably use every day. Siri, Alexa, and of course, ChatGPT, the one that's kind of changing everything. What do they all have in common? What kind of AI are they actually?
Well, the answer might actually surprise you. Every single one of them, they're all what's called narrow AI. And here's the kicker. It's the only kind of AI that actually exists today. Seriously. Everything else you see in the movies, that's all still just theory. So in this explainer, that's what we're going to do. We're going to break down exactly what that means.
To really get what narrow AI means, we got to start with the stuff that's already all around us. So this is it, artificial narrow intelligence. Sometimes you'll hear it called weak AI. The easiest way to think about it is like it's a specialist, a master of one single thing. It can be trained to do a specific task, and honestly, it can often do it way better and faster than any human could. But, and this is the big but, it cannot do anything outside of that one job it was designed for. It's stuck in its box.
And yep, that list includes all the big names you know. Apple's Siri, Amazon's Alexa, IBM's Watson, and even the game changer, OpenAI's ChatGPT. I mean, they're all mind-blowingly powerful, right? But at the end of the day, they are all narrow. They can only operate inside the very specific lane they were built for. Grasping that one concept it's absolutely crucial.
Okay, so if everything we have right now is narrow AI, then how do we even start to think about what might come next? Well, luckily, the experts have given us a pretty simple framework. There are basically two main ways to classify and understand all of this.
It's a simple two-step process, really. First, we're going to look at its capability. What can it actually do? Think of it like its power level. And then second, we'll look at its functionality, which is all about how it works, how it thinks. Using these two lenses together, well, it makes the whole picture a lot less confusing.
All right, let's tackle capability first. And this is where we really start to see the huge gap between the AI we have today and the AI you see in the movies. Think of it like a spectrum or a timeline. Right now, today, we are firmly planted at the very beginning with artificial narrow AI. That's the only one that's real. The next two steps on this ladder, artificial general AI and artificial super AI, they are purely theoretical. They don't exist, not yet anyway.
And the jump between what we have now and what could be next, it's enormous. We're talking about artificial general intelligence, or AGI. This would be an AI that could learn, understand, and apply its knowledge to any intellectual task a human can. It wouldn't need to be retrained for every little thing. It could just use what it already knows to figure out something new, just like we do.
And then that leads us to the final frontier, the stuff of deep sci-fi, artificial superintelligence, or super AI. This is the idea of an AI that doesn't just match us, but completely surpasses human intelligence and cognitive ability. We're talking about something that would have its own emotions, its own beliefs, needs, desires, a consciousness. And I gotta say it again, this is purely theoretical.
Okay, so we've got the three capabilities, narrow, general, and super. That covers what they can do. But now let's look at that second piece of the puzzle, functionality. This explains how they think and work under the hood. And check this out. This is how it all fits together. See, the narrow AI that we have today, it works using one of those first two functionalities. It's either what we call a reactive machine, or it has limited memory. That's it. The other two, the more advanced ones, theory of mind and self-aware, those correspond to the theoretical general and super AIs of the future. Let's break down these functionalities, starting with the most basic one. And for that, we can look at a really famous example, IBM's Deep Blue. Yep, the legendary chess computer that beat the world champion Garry Kasparov way back in the 90s. Deep Blue was a perfect example of a reactive machine AI. It's the most basic type. It could look at the chessboard at any given moment, analyze every single piece, and figure out the absolute best move. But it had zero memory. It couldn't remember what happened 3 moves ago, let alone in a past game. It only reacts to what's happening right now. Okay, so if reactive machines are stuck in the present, what's the next step up? Well, that would be the AI that powers pretty much all the cool stuff we have today. A great example is a self-driving car navigating through traffic. These cars run on what's called limited memory AI. They aren't just reacting to the car directly in front of them. They're also recalling past data, but only for a short time. Things like the speed of other cars, the lane markings they just passed. This ability to look back at the immediate past is what lets them make smart, informed decisions in a super complex situation like traffic.
And once you see it, you realize this type of AI is everywhere. It's in generative AI like ChatGPT, which remembers the start of your sentence to predict the next word. It's in Siri and Alexa when they remember the context of your last question. And yeah, it's even in the Netflix recommendation engine. They all rely on this limited memory to work.
Okay, so that's the AI we have today. Now let's venture back into the purely theoretical stuff. These next two types show us where AI could be headed.
The next hypothetical step up is called theory of mind AI. This is a huge leap. We're talking about an AI that doesn't just process information, but actually begins to understand things like human thoughts, emotions, and intentions. In theory, this would allow the AI to simulate, well, human-like relationships, because it would get why we feel the way we do.
And that brings us to the final, ultimate theoretical stage, self-aware AI. This links right back to that idea of super AI we talked about earlier. This would be a machine that doesn't just understand our internal state. It would have its own internal state, its own consciousness, its own needs, its own beliefs, a truly sentient being.
All right, so we've gone from what's real to what's pure theory. Let's pull it all back together. What's the one big takeaway you should have about the AI that's here today?
Okay, so the most crucial point, the main thing to remember is this. All the AI we interact with, every single bit of it, is narrow AI, period. And it works in one of just two ways. It's either a reactive machine that just sees the now, or it has a limited memory of the recent past. That's it. That's the whole shebang when it comes to AI today.
But, understanding this framework, it really helps us think more clearly about where this is all going. It separates the hype from the reality. And it leaves us with a pretty provocative final thought. If we ever do get there, if we ever create a self-aware, super intelligent AI that has its own beliefs, its own needs, its own desires, what will it want?